crazy, paranoid, unrealistic. These are just some of the colorful adjectives used to describe conspiracy theories and those who believe in them. However, on more than one occasion, these clandestine documents that used to be classified as secret ceased to be so restricted. Now presented to the light of the public, the only remaining question is, can you handle the truth? Number 5. MK Ultra. We have all heard the rumor the government is looking to control the minds of its people. But unfortunately, this turned out to be true. During the 1950s and 1960s, the Central Intelligence Agency conducted a variety of illegal experiments designed to test which drugs would break an individual's will and make them more malleable to mental suggestion, rendering the subject more willing to tell or do what the CIA wanted. In addition to the administration of drugs, these poor individuals were subjected to severe isolation, sleep deprivation, sensory deprivation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture to break their psyches. The CIA conducted these experiments through a variety of colleges, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies before being halted in 1973 due to President Gerald Ford's commission to investigate any and all activity conducted by the CIA. Despite the best efforts to destroy the evidence, it was officially released by investigators and declassified in 2001. Number 4. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment. Ask yourself this: how far would you be willing to go to cure a disease? The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment stands as a testament that the ends don't justify the means. This experiment was conducted from 1932 to 1972. It involved the United States Public Health Service actively infecting 400 impoverished African American men with syphilis, and even more horrifying, actively withheld treatment options for the disease because the agency wished to learn more about the disease itself. Even if one of the individuals were able to identify that they had contracted the disease, they were actively denied services by the military. Initially, this experiment was only supposed to last for 6 months, but after initial results, the project was extended to 40 years. On May 6, 1997, President Clinton apologized on behalf of the nation, and to make sure this atrocity could never occur again, the President's Council on Bioethics was established 4 years later. Number 3. The Gulf of Tonkin Incident. Vietnam is noted as one of the most horrific wars the U.S. has ever entered. However, what remains as a point of contention was the way the U.S. justified entering the foreign conflict. On August 4, 1964, the destroyers USS Maddox and the USS Turner Joy, after reportedly being attacked on July 31st by North Vietnamese torpedo boats, were attacked again by North Vietnamese forces off the coast of the communist country. The reports of said attack allowed Lyndon B. Johnson to have the go-ahead for a retaliatory strike, dubbed Operation Arrow, against the North Vietnamese. Further still, Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which in essence allowed the president to greatly extend his executive power to ensure that the North Vietnamese could not attack American forces. However, after many years it was later revealed that the attack was falsified in order to enter the quagmire that was the Vietnam War. Number 2. Operation Paperclip. The Cold War is remembered as an ideological standoff between the United States and the USSR, but also for the space race and the technological innovations it facilitated. However, how were these advances even possible, as the US and the USSR had barely begun research on rocket propulsion? After World War II, there was a mad scramble between the warring superpowers to recruit various Nazi scientists, on the basis of granting them full pardon for their war crimes in exchange for their research. The Office of Strategic Services and the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency of the United States recruited German scientists in order to gain any scientific data from both the horrifying scientific experiments conducted on innocent civilians during the Holocaust, as well as the data surrounding the rocket program Germany had been working on before the end of the war. Some of the scientists were recognized as militant members of the Nazi Party, and some were even deemed to be a menace to the security of the Allied forces. Number 1. Domestic terrorism. How convenient would it be to have acts of domestic terrorism that would lead the U.S. to a war, but under falsified pretenses? Dubbed Operation Northwoods, the plan was conducted by the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the 1960s to cause bombings across major cities throughout the United States. The intent of these bombings, killings, and other various acts of violence were to make the American populace more willing to agree with eliminating any and all communist regimes, particularly Communist Cuba, from the Western Hemisphere. Not only was this plan approved by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but it reached President Kennedy's desk to be approved. The president highly disapproved of the plan and allegedly threatened a court-martial and then incarcerate every one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. President Kennedy didn't seem to make too many friends. Now, as you can tell, we have only touched the tip of the iceberg. If you're interested in any of these topics, I encourage you to research them further and dig deeper down the rabbit hole. A few starting citations, located in the description below, are graciously provided by today's scriptwriter, Carrot, who looks to continue writing scripts for this channel and others in the near future. If you have an idea for a top countdown, personal story, or encounter, be sure to send them to the email located below. Thanks again, and we'll see you again soon.